Have you ever stopped to think that some survival tricks we learned as kids might actually put your life at risk? It sounds like something out of a movie, but it happens in real life. We grow up hearing advice like, if you're lost, follow the river, or, if a snake bites you, suck out the venom. But in many cases, these tips can be the worst possible choice. Picture this. You're alone on a trail, surrounded by dense forest with no cell signal. Suddenly you remember one of those ready-made survival tips. In a panic, you follow it to the letter. And just like that, instead of saving yourself, you've made the situation more dangerous. It's like trying to fix a leak by pouring more water on it. But why does this happen? Because much of what we call common wisdom comes from old stories passed down without verification. Others were popularized by movies and TV shows that prioritize drama over accuracy. The problem is, in life or death situations, a single wrong detail isn't just a curiosity. It can cost you dearly. Here's the challenge. Have you ever believed in one of these myths? In the next sections, we'll reveal the most common survival tricks that almost everyone gets wrong, and what you should actually do. Drop a comment. What survival tip have you heard that you've always found suspicious? Let's see who guesses it before the explanation. Everyone's heard it. If a snake bites you, the right thing to do is cut the wound and suck out the venom with your mouth. This scene has appeared in dozens of movies, always with that heroic vibe of someone saving another person's life. But here's the raw truth. This trick not only doesn't work, it can make things much worse. First, because most of the snake's venom enters the bloodstream within seconds. There's no point trying to suck out something that's already circulating in the body. Second, putting your mouth on the wound risks infecting the area with bacteria. The result, instead of helping, you're adding an extra problem, like a serious infection. And there's more. If you have a cut in your mouth, the venom could enter your system directly. In other words, 2 victims for the price of 1. Not exactly heroic, right? What you should actually do is the opposite of what we imagine in action scenes. The victim should stay still, with the affected limb immobilized and slightly below heart level to slow the venom's spread. Then, the most important thing is to seek medical attention as soon as possible. No homemade trick can replace anti-venom serum. Now here's the question. If this myth is so widespread, how many other survival tips are misleading us to this day? Another myth that people repeat without a second thought is, if you're lost in the wilderness, just follow the river and you'll find help. At first glance, it seems logical. After all, rivers often lead to villages or towns. But in practice, this idea can turn a bad situation into a full-blown nightmare. Think about it. Following a river means facing increasingly difficult terrain. Riverbanks are usually slippery, full of loose rocks, and often force you to cross dense vegetation. The risk of falls, sprains, and injuries grows with every step. And if that weren't enough, in tropical regions, the wildlife near water can include alligators, snakes, and even disease-carrying insects. Another detail people rarely consider: rivers don't always lead to communities. They might empty into swamps, dangerous rapids, or simply more remote areas. Imagine spending hours or days following a waterway, only to end up facing impassable terrain. What survival experts recommend is quite different. Instead of wandering aimlessly, it's better to stay put. Increase your chances of being seen and conserve energy. Building visible signals like stacked rocks or branches arranged in an arrow shape can be far more effective than risking miles of walking with no guarantee of success. So, are you starting to see how this common wisdom can be a trap? In any survival situation, the first thing that comes to mind is, I need water. And that's where a dangerous myth comes in. The idea that all running water is safe to drink. Who hasn't heard someone say, if you're in the forest, just drink from the stream? It seems logical. After all, the water is moving, it looks clean. But this is an illusion that can cost you dearly. Imagine the scene. You find a crystal clear stream, water flowing over shiny rocks, a picture-perfect moment. You take a refreshing sip, feeling like you've just saved yourself. But the truth is, you might have just swallowed hundreds of invisible parasites. Giardia, E. coli, viruses, things you can't see with the naked eye but can knock you down in hours with fever, diarrhea, and dehydration. And there's more. Even those icy mountain streams aren't safe. Dead animals could be upstream, contaminating everything. Decomposing leaves, animal feces, or even human waste. Appearance guarantees nothing. What really saves you isn't trusting your eyes, but purifying the water. Boiling it for a few minutes using chemical tablets or even improvising filters with charcoal and cloth. That's what turns an invisible risk into something safe. So tell me, have you ever believed that running water was pure by nature? Few things are as symbolic of survival as fire. It keeps you warm, scares off animals, lights up the night, and even lets you purify water and cook food. No wonder many people believe the priority when lost in the wild is to start a fire as soon as possible. But here's the detail almost no one mentions. A poorly planned fire can be as dangerous as the wilderness itself. Picture this. You manage to strike a lighter or spark some rocks, the flame catches, and relief washes over you. But without realizing it, you've built your fire near dry leaves or on sloped ground. A few gusts of wind later, and that fire, meant to save your life, turns into an uncontrollable forest fire. Another common mistake is burning all your energy trying to build a massive bonfire, like some epic movie scene. Not only does this waste time and strength, but it also increases the risk of drawing unwanted attention or even suffocating yourself with smoke in enclosed areas. The secret is the opposite. A small, controlled fire in a safe location with a clear space around it. Fire should be an ally, not an enemy. A discreet, efficient flame is better than an out-of-control blaze. Here's the challenge. If even fire, a symbol of safety, can turn against you, what other classic trick might hide a deadly trap? When it comes to survival, the phrase, "you can't survive without food," comes to mind. And that's where one of the most dangerous pieces of advice comes from. If you're lost, eat anything you find. Plants, fruits, roots, even insects. The logic seems simple. Any energy is better than an empty stomach. But reality is far more treacherous. Imagine this. You find a bush full of bright, juicy red berries. Hunger gnaws at you, so you risk a handful. And within minutes, your body starts reacting. Nausea, dizziness, vomiting. Instead of gaining strength, you've just poisoned yourself. It's like trading hunger for a silent poison. Another mistake is thinking that roots or mushrooms in the forest are safe options. Many species are toxic, and some have poisons that attack the liver and kidneys without giving you time to seek help. Even seemingly harmless leaves can contain substances that irritate the stomach and speed up dehydration. The most surprising part? The human body can go up to 3 weeks without food, as long as it has water. This means the rush to satisfy hunger might be exactly what puts you in danger. In survival, conserving energy and ensuring hydration are far more important than risking unknown foods. And here's the challenge. How many times have you heard that the important thing is to eat something, anything? Another almost automatic instinct in survival situations is to start walking, or even running, in search of help. The logic seems obvious. The more you move, the closer you get to finding someone. But this haste can be your greatest enemy. Picture the scene. You're lost, unsure of the right direction, but you decide to keep walking non-stop. Within a few hours, your body starts to feel the effects: fatigue, accelerated dehydration, and loss of energy. And the most dangerous part? You might be heading further away from where you should be. It's like spinning in circles in a desert without realizing it. Survival experts teach that staying in the same place or close to where you got lost greatly increases your chances of being rescued. Search teams always start from the victim's last known location. If you wander off, you make their job harder and multiply the areas they need to cover. Another detail: wasting energy unnecessarily speeds up your need for water and food, two resources that are usually already scarce. In this case, haste doesn't just fail to help, it shortens the time you have until you're found. The best approach is counterintuitive. Stop, stay calm, and make yourself visible. Smoke signals, colorful clothing spread out, marks on the ground. These speak much louder than miles walked aimlessly. Now here's a thought. Could the instinct to move quickly actually be a psychological trap? Cold is one of the most dangerous enemies in survival situations. And there's a myth that seems almost intuitive. When someone is at risk of hypothermia, the best thing to do is rub their body or place them near a strong fire. It sounds logical, but it can be fatal. Imagine the scene. A person is shivering, lips purple, skin ice cold. The immediate impulse is to warm them up by any means necessary. But rubbing the skin can cause micro-injuries and even accelerate heat loss, as the body in that state can't react normally. And getting too close to a fire can produce the opposite of what you expect, a thermal shock that overwhelms the body. Another common mistake is believing that a sip of alcohol will warm you up from the inside. This is a classic from the movies, but completely wrong. Alcohol might cause a momentary sensation of warmth, but in reality, it dilates blood vessels and speeds up heat loss. It's like tricking the body while its internal temperature plummets. What really works is gradual, controlled warming, using layers of dry clothing covering the head and extremities, and, if possible, using gentle heat sources like warm water bottles. In extreme cases, even shared body heat under blankets is more effective than any thermal shock. So, have you noticed how even good intentions can make things worse? When we think of survival in the desert, the first image that comes to mind is someone trudging under the scorching sun, desperately searching for shade or an oasis. And then comes the myth. To beat the heat, it's better to walk as much as possible during the day, before thirst becomes unbearable. But this is exactly what can lead to collapse. The desert is treacherous. Temperatures rise quickly, exceeding 40 degrees Celsius, and every step taken under the sun makes your body lose liters of water through sweat. Walking in these conditions isn't a solution. It's a shortcut to dehydration. And the irony is that even knowing this, many people still believe that walking non-stop is the answer. The correct strategy is the opposite. Conserve energy and avoid exertion during the hottest hours. People who have lived in arid regions for centuries know this well. They move in the early morning or late afternoon when the sun is low and spend the critical hours sheltered. It's ancestral knowledge that contradicts immediate logic. Another mistake is drinking all your water at once, thinking it'll help your body last longer. In reality, this speeds up dehydration. The right approach is to ration it, taking small sips over time. Curious, isn't it? While most people think the key is to race against the heat, the real secret to survival is waiting. Now imagine this scene. You're swimming calmly in the ocean when, suddenly, you feel the current pulling you away from the shore. Your instinct screams, swim against the current with all your strength. This is another one of those myths that seems obvious but can be fatal. So-called rip currents are invisible and extremely powerful. The more you try to swim against them, the faster your body tires out. It's like trying to run on a treadmill that never stops. Many drownings happen precisely because people believe willpower is enough to beat the sea. The secret is different. Don't fight the current, work with it. The correct move is to swim parallel to the shore until you escape the pull, and only then head back toward the beach. It's counterintuitive, but it works. The energy that would be wasted fighting the ocean is used intelligently. And here's the final reflection. All these survival myths have something in common. They stem from instincts, traditions, and even pop culture. But when put to the test, they prove dangerous. Survival isn't about brute force or magic tips. It's about knowledge, calm, and strategy. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these myths surprised you the most? Did you ever believe in any of them? Leave your comment, like the video, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next stories. After all, you never know when a bit of knowledge might end up saving your life.